A lot of gardeners look at their beds in the middle of July and quietly panic. The lettuce has gone limp, the peas gave up weeks ago, the radishes bolted, and half the seed packets from April feel irrelevant now. It's easy to assume the growing season is winding down. It isn't. It's just changing shifts. There's a whole second roster of vegetables that were barely doing anything all spring, waiting for exactly this kind of heat. Some barely grow at all until the soil is genuinely warm. Some actually improve the hotter it gets. And a few can still go in the ground today and still give you a full crop before fall. We're counting down 15 of them, from ones that simply tolerate heat well to the one plant that treats a heat wave like an invitation. Stick around for the number 1 pick. It's the closest thing to a vegetable that refuses to slow down, no matter the forecast. Let's get into it. Number 15, Armenian cucumber. Regular cucumbers sulk once temperatures push past the low 90s. Bitter fruit, slowed vines. Armenian cucumber, technically a melon relative, shrugs that heat off almost entirely. The big mistake is growing it flat on the ground like squash. Left to sprawl, the fruit curls into corkscrews and sits in damp soil, inviting rot. Train it up a simple trellis or cattle panel instead. Gravity keeps the fruit straight, and it stays clean and easy to spot. Keep watering consistent, since inconsistent moisture causes hollow or oddly shaped fruit. Mulch helps even that out, especially since the vines can grow several feet in a single warm week. Pick fruit at 12 to 15 inches. Beyond that, the skin toughens and seeds harden. Because the vine keeps setting new fruit as you harvest, falling behind for a few days often means finding a 2-foot cucumber hiding under the leaves. Still usable, just peel, seed, and dice it for a salad instead of eating it raw. Number 14, bush snap beans, the heat-set varieties. Standard snap beans stop setting pods once nights stay above roughly the mid-70s. Flowers open, fail to fertilize, and drop. It's a temperature problem, not a plant health one. Hot climate bean varieties are bred specifically to keep setting pods through that stretch. The common mistake is one big spring planting treated as the whole season. Bush beans mature in 50 to 60 days, so a hot climate garden can support a fresh planting every 2 to 3 weeks. Built-in insurance if one round gets hit by a heat spike during flowering. Keep soil moisture steady while pods are filling. Dry spells produce lumpy, stringy pods. Mulch buffers those swings and keeps shallow roots cooler. Watch for bean beetles in peak heat. Handpick them in cooler morning hours. Harvest when pods snap cleanly rather than bend. That crisp window closes fast in high heat, and frequent picking keeps the plant flowering instead of shutting down. Number 13, zucchini and summer squash. Once established in warm soil, this plant simply does not stop producing. The most common complaint, tons of flowers, no fruit, is almost always a pollination gap. Squash produce separate male and female blooms, and only females, identifiable by the small swollen bulge behind the petals, become fruit. Early season is normal for mostly male flowers. Without heavy bee traffic, hand pollinate in the early morning with a paintbrush, or just snap off a male flower and dab it directly onto a female bloom. Water at the base, not overhead, to slow powdery mildew, which will show up eventually on most plants. Just remove the worst leaves and improve airflow. Squash vine borers are the more serious threat. Wrapping the base of young stems in foil helps deter the moth from laying eggs. Harvest young, 6 to 8 inches. One overgrown fruit signals the plant to slow everything else down to mature its seeds, so pick often, even a little early. Number 12, sweet corn. Corn is wind-pollinated, and that changes everything about how you arrange it. Plant it in one narrow row, and most pollen blows past the plants entirely. Plant in a block instead, at minimum 4 rows by 4, and pollen actually lands where it's useful. Skip this, and you get healthy-looking stalks with random gaps of missing kernels. Corn is also a heavy nitrogen feeder. Side dress with compost once stalks are knee-high, and again as tassels emerge. The most critical water window is when tassels and silks are forming and ears are filling. Let that dry out, and you get small, patchy ears no matter how well you fed it earlier. To check ripeness, peel back the husk and press a kernel. Milky liquid means ready. Clear means wait. Pasty means you waited too long. Sugar converts to starch fast after picking, so cook it the same day for the best flavor. Number 11. Eggplant. Eggplant hates a cold start. Transplanted into cool soil, it stalls for weeks even after the air warms. Once soil and nighttime temps are reliably warm, though, it shifts gears fast. A later transplant into properly warm soil often outperforms an early one. Don't over-prune trying to open the plant up. Those broad leaves shade developing fruit, and stripping too many causes pale, sun-scorched patches. Only remove leaves that are diseased or truly overcrowding. Flea beetles are the main early pest. A floating row cover over young transplants handles it without spraying. Keep soil moisture consistent. Dry spells followed by a heavy soak cause flowers to drop before fruiting. Stake the plant early, before it leans under fruit weight. Harvest while the skin is tight and glossy. Once it turns dull, seeds have hardened. Cut with scissors rather than pulling, since the stems are tougher than they look. Number 10. Sweet and hot peppers. Extreme heat combined with warm nights causes the same flower drop problem as tomatoes. The plant looks healthy, but quietly fails to convert flowers into fruit. A fix a lot of gardeners skip. Light shade cloth over the plants during the hottest afternoon hours once temps regularly cross the mid-90s. 30 to 40% shade is usually enough to noticeably cut flower drop. Scale back nitrogen once flowering starts. Too much produces leaves at the expense of fruit. Don't over-prune either. The foliage protects fruit from sun scald. 4 hot varieties, a little drought stress, not real wilting. Actually raises capsaicin levels, so a slightly underwatered plant often produces spicier fruit. Harvest at any color stage. Green is sharper and more vegetal, fully ripened red or orange is sweeter and more nutritious. Pick often to keep the plant cycling new flowers. Number 9. Heat-set cherry tomatoes. Standard slicing tomatoes stop setting fruit once days stay above the mid-90s and nights stay above the mid-70s, because the pollen itself loses viability. Heat-tolerant cherry varieties keep setting fruit through those same conditions. A common misstep, seeing fruit set slow down and dumping on more fertilizer, assuming a nutrient problem. When it's actually heat, extra fertilizer just pushes leafy growth and can attract aphids. The better move is just keeping the plant healthy and mulched so it's ready to resume the moment temperatures ease. Heavy mulch also prevents the classic dry spell then heavy rain combo that splits fruit overnight. Pick cherry tomatoes as soon as they ripen. They soften and split fast in heat, and birds go for the ripest ones first. A well-mulched plant tends to bounce back within a week or two once a heat wave breaks. Number 8. Southern peas, cowpeas, or black-eyed peas. For poor soil and intense heat, southern peas stand out because they improve growing conditions while producing a harvest. Like most legumes, they host bacteria that pull nitrogen from the air and feed it into the soil, making this one of the only crops here that can rehabilitate a tired bed while feeding you. Because of that, heavy nitrogen fertilizer actually works against it, encouraging vines over pods. It genuinely performs best in soil other crops would consider too poor. Vining varieties sprawl far more than expected, so check the seed packet for growth habit before planting. For fresh eating, harvest pods while firm and plump. For dried storage, leave them until they've fully dried and rattle. Either way, this is a low-maintenance, soil-building crop. Number 7. Yard-long beans, also called asparagus beans. Where standard beans drop flowers under sustained heat, yard-long beans keep climbing and setting pods, often past a foot and a half long, largely unaffected. One of the most reliable July and August performers on this list. They need a genuinely tall, sturdy trellis, 6 feet or more, since the vines don't stop reaching up. Skip that, and they collapse into a tangle that's miserable to harvest and prone to rot. A bamboo teepee works especially well. Pick pods young, about pencil thickness, while still flexible. Left too long, they turn fibrous fast. Frequent picking keeps the plant flowering. In peak heat, a well-established planting can need checking every day or two. Number 6. Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes look like they're doing nothing above ground for most of the season, but underground, root development actually accelerates as soil temperatures rise. The hottest weeks are often when the most growth is happening. A common mistake is planting too early into cool, damp soil, which stalls root formation for weeks. Plant rooted slips only once soil is reliably warm, ideally with nights well above the 60s. Keep nitrogen modest. Rich soil produces impressive vines and disappointing roots. Letting vines sprawl acts as living mulch, shading out weeds with almost no extra effort. Harvest before the first frost, digging carefully, starting well away from the base to avoid slicing into roots. Curing the harvest for about a week in a warm, humid spot noticeably improves sweetness and storage life. Number 5. Malabar spinach. A completely different species from true spinach. This tropical climbing vine looks stalled out in spring, then explodes with growth once real heat arrives. It's a great fit for small gardens because it grows vertically instead of sprawling. Install a trellis early, before the vines lengthen, to keep the glossy leaves off the ground and away from rot-causing dampness. Harvest by snipping growing tips along with nearby leaves. That encourages branching instead of one long vine, and doubles as pruning. The leaves turn thick and slightly mucilaginous once cooked, working well in soups, but surprising anyone expecting true spinach's texture. Keep moisture consistent. Letting it dry out repeatedly shrinks new growth despite its overall toughness. Number 4. Roselle, also known as cranberry hibiscus. This heat-loving hibiscus relative offers 2 separate harvests from one plant. Tart edible young leaves through the hottest part of summer, then deep red calyces later in the season, used in teas, syrups, and jams. The biggest mistake is planting too late. Roselle needs a long, hot stretch to produce those calyces before cool fall weather arrives. In shorter season regions, start it indoors ahead of the last frost. Pinch growing tips while the plant is young to encourage a bushier shape with more branching, leaves, and eventually more calyces, instead of one tall leggy stem. By late summer, it's a genuinely large, shrub-like plant, so give it more room than a young seedling suggests it needs. Number 3. Tomatillos. Tomatillos are unmistakable once fruit forms inside a papery husk that stretches and eventually splits like a small lantern. A relative of the tomato, but noticeably more heat-tolerant, and it sprawls 3 or 4 feet wide if unsupported. The rule almost everyone misses: one plant usually isn't enough. Most varieties don't self-pollinate reliably, so a single plant can flower all season and still produce almost no fruit. Plant at least 2, close enough for pollinators to move between them. The single most important thing to know before growing this crop. Beyond that, it's undemanding, stake it loosely, and it tolerates inconsistent watering far better than true tomatoes. Harvest once the fruit fills the husk, and that covering starts to split or fade. Fruit that's dropped on its own is still usable as long as it's firm. Number 2. Loofah, the sponge gourd. Most people only know the dried, fibrous bath sponge sold in stores and have no idea it starts out as an edible, squash-like vegetable that thrives in serious sustained heat. Picked young, under 6 inches, it's mild and reminiscent of young zucchini. Left to mature fully, the skin dries and browns into the familiar scrubbing sponge. Decide in advance which path you want for each fruit. It needs a tall, sturdy trellis and a long, uninterrupted stretch of hot weather. In shorter season climates, start seeds indoors well ahead of the last frost, or the vine may only produce small, immature fruit before frost cuts the season short. For sponge use, it's ready once it feels notably lightweight and the skin turns papery and brown. Then peel, shake out the seeds, and rinse. And the number 1 pick, okra. If one vegetable on this list treats a heat wave as an opportunity, it's okra. While everything else is just bracing for the hottest stretch of summer, okra is often hitting its full stride, producing flowers and pods faster than almost anything else in the garden. It needs genuinely warm soil to germinate. Planted too early into cold, damp ground, seeds simply rot. Soak seeds overnight to soften their tough coat and speed up germination. The biggest thing new growers underestimate is how fast pods develop. Tender and ready today can turn woody and inedible within 2 to 3 days. During peak summer, check plants daily, or at minimum every other day. Water deeply but less frequently, encouraging roots to grow downward and support a plant that can eventually reach 5 or 6 feet. Consistent harvesting keeps it flowering instead of shifting energy into maturing old pods. One warning: the leaves and pods carry fine spines that irritate skin. Long sleeves or gloves make harvesting far more pleasant, especially during the hottest part of the day when the plant needs the most attention. Give it warm soil, full sun, steady moisture, and regular attention, and okra will often keep producing right up until the first real cold snap of fall. Here's the real takeaway from all 15 of these. Surviving high heat and surviving without water are two completely different skills, and it's easy to confuse them. A lot of these plants handle extreme temperatures beautifully, but still absolutely require consistent moisture to actually produce a worthwhile harvest. Skip the watering, and you end up with a plant that survives the summer while barely feeding you anything. Heat tolerant also doesn't mean immune to every problem. Nearly everything on this list still benefits from mulch, still needs the occasional pest check, and still responds to the same fundamentals any garden depends on. The difference is these 15 simply don't punish you for the temperature itself the way spring crops do. You don't need to try all 15 in one season. Pick 2 or 3 that fit your space, your climate, and what your household actually eats. Tight on space. Malabar spinach or loofah can go straight up a trellis. Got a back corner sitting unused? Sweet potatoes or okra will stretch out and earn their keep. Trying to rescue a struggling bed? Southern peas actively improve the soil while they grow. Let me know in the comments which one you're trying first, or which one already rescued your garden during a brutal heat wave. And if this helped you rethink what your summer beds are capable of, like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Stay cool out there, and here's to a garden that keeps producing straight through the hottest days of the year.